Hello YouTube, this is Logan from Rockets-R-Us. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to proceed with doing these kind of videos and like how I want to have things set up. So I don't know if I'm going to start uploading to other platforms. In terms of like my media content, I primarily know YouTube. I love podcasts, I love YouTube videos. I've been watching religiously different types of content for the past like 10 years. I remember really getting into a specific podcast about movies back in like 2015. So I've been watching stuff like this for a long time and don't really have a specific voice on how I want things to go, just because frankly I've been absorbing it for years and years and never really putting anything out. I've really been more of, I was always a social butterfly growing up, and then kind of moved back to be a more insulated person over the past like 5 or 10 years. So trying to figure that out now, but wanted to give a little bit of backstory on me and my love of Pokemon and just kind of who I am, so whoever is watching these can kind of have an idea of who the person is that they're watching. So like I said, my name is Logan. I grew up in South Carolina and was one of the original Pokemon fans. Like, I loved Pokemon from really probably base set, but I definitely know and have strong memories of base set 2 and Team Rocket. That was like my favorite stuff that I could put my hands on, was base set 2 and Team Rocket. And then of course the Gym Heroes came out, and I just thought that was the coolest thing, having the different trainers. So that's like where my love started. And I have a very specific memory of this kid I used to know named Aaron on the school bus, and Aaron could like name off every Pokemon based on their Pokedex entry number. So I'd be like, I don't know, 28, he'd be Pikachu, and then 3 would be Venusaur. So just like, he could call out and he knew every single one. And I remember in class he would list off these, and we would just play and make our own little Pokedex. And that would have been probably 2nd or 3rd grade, if you wanted to go back in and math that out and make sure it's right. I'm 36, so that makes sense to me. But yeah, so ever since then, I've really just loved Pokemon. I played most of the early games, the red, blue, yellow, played gold and silver a little, but really my main love is the original 151. And then took a little hiatus, took a little break. Did not play a lot of like Gen 3 through 8. Played Sword and Shield, so when I say little hiatus, I mean a big hiatus. But always dabbled, always put my toe in, always paid attention to the general stuff that was going on, what games were coming out. But my time, honestly, from that time period on, was dedicated to things like RuneScape, or girls, or just like doing different stuff. So never really dove back in until I had a daughter of my own, and really wanted to get her the same kind of experience growing up that I had, where you just had something that you could follow along with, something you could put your hands on, collecting the actual cards. And then I introduced her to Pokemon cards, and that got me back in. And also I kind of started wanting to collect my original Pokemon cards again. So I started going out and buying a couple of like graded slabs on eBay when I had a little bit of extra pocket money. But really the big thing that got me back into the cards themselves would have been Celebration, the 25th anniversary collection. And I definitely bought a good bit of those cards. I could buy, that would have been when I could grab a couple of things off the shelf, or before things had spiked and gone so crazy, pre-COVID, and would buy cards off the shelf and would even buy them on eBay. I went back in and looked at actually an Amazon card. That's what it was. Looked at an Amazon card that I had bought some celebration stuff, and it would have been like under MSRP somehow. I think I was buying it for like $50. And then I got the itch and I bought some more, and I bought it for over $100. So it's just was buying everything I could get my hands on, and so I got a pretty good sized collection, and then frankly ran out of money and had to start buckling down at my day job, and so didn't buy anything for a little while, and then started watching things like PokePass or TJ or Phantom's cards. Like he's been a big inspiration for me actually getting back on the content side, and also people like Bronze God. So looking at the bulk stuff, I had a little bit more capital to start out with, so for the past couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, actually less than 2 months, so a couple of weeks-ish, I have been buying some collections. I feel like right at the beginning of summer, there were a lot of people offloading some stuff, and it's definitely slowed down on Facebook Marketplace, which is where I was buying most of my stuff. So I branched out to eBay, looking at eBay for some things, and then I don't think I've gotten really burned, but one of these days I'm going to sit down and actually show what the cards were, what the condition they came in with, and then what I paid, just to show exactly how much money I gained or lost. But yeah, and so doing that right along with the market slowing down and seeing my individual portfolio dropping in price, that's not really put a damper on what I'm trying to do, but it's just kind of changed how I wanted to go about things. Oh yeah, and one other thing I wanted to throw in just about how I got back into selling on TCG Player. I have a cousin. He lives in a little bit of a more active city than I live in, and he had gotten really into Pokemon Go, and his Pokemon Go friends started talking about the cards and about how hard they were to get on shelves. I never really thought I was going to be someone to camp out for cards, but I just couldn't find any. So I started meeting up with a couple of guys at the beginning, or at the start of the day, right before open, at a couple of stores. Would try and get in and get a couple of things, and I bought a couple of like first partner boxes. I was with my daughter actually, and so she helped me get a couple of bonus first partners, and so I had these first partner boxes. My cousin opened them up, showed me the cards. Honestly, I didn't love the artwork for the first partner boxes, so I was a dirty scalper, and I decided that I didn't want these boxes, and I wanted some kind of an inspiration for me to be able to sell some cards. And so the first thing I did was I listed some first partner boxes on TCG Player, and they sold really quick actually. And so I just listed them on there, not like trying to get into selling sealed product, but just because I was looking for an excuse, looking for anything to kind of do to get me more involved in the world. I put up like 6 first partner boxes, sold them all within like 2 days, and that is the first things that I sold on my TCG Player store. After that, I got out of sealed product just because it's impossible to get. I don't really want to mess with sealed product. I like the cards. I enjoy sorting the cards. I enjoy having my hands on these things and being able to look at the artwork and move them around, and it clicks with my nostalgic brain, where sealed product really doesn't. I'm not saying I never really want to mess with sealed product ever, but that's just not where my focus is. That's not where my priorities are. But yeah, my goal is to buy up collections, keep the cards that I want, or really put the cards that I want to the side, see how much I actually do want them, list everything else immediately, and then once a month or once every couple of weeks I want to go through and see like what do I actually want to hold on to. Do I think that's the best financial decision? No, probably not. No, I should probably just go ahead and list all the stuff that I buy in a collection, but I really enjoy the cards, and I want to give myself an opportunity to save the cards and have a collection. I can always, like, you know, write them down or take a picture of them or put them to the side and or sell them off and then buy them back again. It's a little different. Like, if you open a card, that card being in your set is it's nice that it's actually the card that you opened. It's nice that it's actually the card that you found in a set of cards that you were buying as a collection, and you just happen to come across this card that you didn't know was in there. So I want to give myself the opportunity to get a collection back, and I really haven't even listed all of the stuff that I have from childhood. But going through the process, listing everything that I can, listing everything that I feel comfortable with. I've got a pretty good size inventory to start out with, around around 3,500 cards so far, and over $10,000 of like actual inventory cost, like what's worth, and going through and selling on TCG Player still. I've got around getting close to $500 or 500 sales, and just kind of going from there. TCG Player is my bread and butter. I have learned a lot about TCG Player, how mass price works, but I've heard eBay is the move, and with me learning a little bit about SortSwift and hearing about some of their potential scaling, where they can actually potentially work with TCG Player and eBay. I want to learn about eBay because it seems like you can make a good bit more money on eBay, but it moves a little bit slower. So if I can integrate with eBay and TCG Player, you can have some quick moving cards and some slower moving, higher profit cards, with also selling some, I don't know if grail is the right word, but cards over $100 that I have at a higher price. And I just heard that TCG Player has some sort of tracking at a lower price that I think would be hugely beneficial. If you could end up shipping out envelopes with tracking for less than $1, I think it makes more sense to be able to use SortSwift to be able to do that than to use Pirate Ship, which is what I've been doing. So that's a little bit about kind of cursory information about me. A little bit more, I did go to the University of South Carolina. I do live in South Carolina. I have a daughter, I have a wife, and have a full-time job where I run a small business. So that's gonna be my day-to-day. I really have probably anywhere between an hour and 4 hours a day that I can put into the business, and I plan on trying to do really about 2 hours a day. And I want to film a video every day. I don't know if I'll upload every day, but yeah, I just kind of want to see what's gonna make some or have some traction. And I think that I'm going to continue to film every day for the rest of this month, which is just a couple of days. And then next month I want to learn how to do editing. So I'm probably just going to throw these videos up raw and see if anything gets any sort of traction. And then if it does, or if it doesn't, then that will determine whether or not I branch out to other platforms. But really just gonna throw a bunch of stuff up there, and then I want to eventually edit these down, make them look a little cleaner, get me a little lapel mic. But right now I just really want to figure out my voice and how I want to present myself, and I don't know, all the general stuff with being on camera that I have no point of reference for. we have actually talked about doing some commercials for my day job, and my father has done these commercials for decades, and he just throw him in front of a camera and the guy can just like spout out lines and just come up with stuff off the cuff. You put a camera on me, and for the longest time, including now, I just like freeze up and I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what to do with my hands. So that's why I've actually been dropping my daughter off at her camp, and this has been the perfect time for me to head back to the house and give my first try at these videos. So yeah, anyway, that's it. This is I'm Logan from Rockets-R-Us. Love to have you guys along to take a look at what I'm doing, throw some feedback in, and really build a little community. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.